You're listening to Real Crime, the Movie Sleuth podcast.
And we are back, guys. Episode 101. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I can't believe that I'm still alive.
I came to that conclusion about myself about a decade ago, so...
Yeah.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Cocaine is...
Not that I would know or anything.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
What?
So we're gonna be talking about Halloween tonight, but first we need to get into our wonderful sponsors.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're lucky we have sponsors.
Let the filleting begin.
I think we might actually be impressive that we have sponsors.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm self-impressed.
I will not bow to any sponsor.
You will bow to the sponsor, sir. You will.
You will. So first up, the Flint Institute of Arts, they actually just re-upped with us for another year. Woo. So you're going to be hearing about the FIA.
A lot.
Also check out their ads on NPR. They've got a lot of really cool stuff on NPR right now. So if you got a chance, get up to Flint, check out the Flint Institute of Arts. They've got their film series going on again right now. Their museum is absolutely amazing. I went up there a few months ago. It's really, really cool.
I love how often they cycle through exhibits up there.
Yeah, they've always got something new going on.
And it's mostly local, which makes it even cooler.
Yeah. And they got some really sexy stuff in there, too.
They do.
Which I like a lot.
It's like a pure romance party in your mouth.
Oh. Other sponsor, we got to mention projectorscreen.com.
Gotta mention them.
Yeah, really cool site there, too. They sell a lot of home theater stuff, a lot of really unique home theater stuff. Love those guys. Really good guys.
I will be going to them soon.
Yes. Oh, that's right, because you're rebuilding your basement soon.
We are, and I am putting in a full theater.
And then Cellerman's. We cannot forget about Cellerman's.
And don't forget, tomorrow night, Halloween, Cellerman's is having a giant rager.
A rager.
See, I'm going back to the 90s on that one.
Rage it up.
Ragers, guys.
Good things are coming.
Yeah.
Good things.
Good things are coming.
All over your face.
Everywhere I'm coming.
Brought to you by Kellerman.
In the locker room I'm coming.
Blake is here tonight.
Hi, guys.
I can already tell.
Did you miss me?
I can already tell.
Great. Now I want to watch Grandma's Boy. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So one thing I definitely want to mention, make sure you get on the moviesleuth.com. We've been publishing a horror review every day this month for 31 Days of Hell. Hashtag 31 Days of Hell. You'll find all of our reviews on Facebook. Yep. Make sure to check that out. This year, we really followed through with it.
We did. It was actually impressive. And most of it, I'm going to have to say thanks to Michelle.
Yes. Thank you, Michelle.
She was on it with getting stuff all organized and ready to launch for every day. And
Yeah.
She was on the ball.
So, in news this week, we actually just did a write-up on this. Trevor wrote this up earlier today.
Yep.
They are actually going to make a Call of Duty movie that's going to start filming potentially in 2019.
Now, the part that drives me crazy about it, like, you guys need to read our article.
Call it Duty.
You guys need to read our article. They're talking about it being like a Marvel Universe series because they have so many different genres of shooters in their franchise that they've decided that they're going to touch them all and connect them into one big universe.
Gotta touch them all.
Gotta touch them all.
Which leads me to the announcement of the porno spin-off, Call of Booty.
Yes.
That's the one that I'll be looking forward to.
I think there's already been a porno.
I'm pretty sure there's already been at least a straight and a gay porno.
Yeah, I'm sure there's Call of Duty Black Ops. I missed that
I'm pretty
one.
sure it was like Call of Duty Locked and Cocked.
Call of Duty Blops.
Locked, cocked, and two smoking barrels.
Yep. Hi, Blake.
You all missed me, and you know it.
Anna DuVernay is
rub my back.
Anna DuVernay is producing a Prince documentary series for Netflix.
Woo-hoo.
That I'm actually really down for. I am really excited for that.
Me too.
But then I am a massive fan of the purple ones. So.
Same.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
I think we really all are. How many times do we listen to Prince over here?
Like almost every time I come
Yeah,
over.
exactly. So,
How many
Never,
Prince records have I
because
given
you've
you?
never played music while I've been over. We've just watched movies.
well, we haven't had a party though, so we need to have a party soon.
We do.
We got to have a party soon.
Yeah, yeah.
In other news, Andy Muschietti, that directed It is going to be directing an Attack of Titan domestic release.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that one yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was less than excited while writing it. And let me tell you, I the news came across to me, and I'm like, oh, who cares?
Yeah.
Attack on Titan is yesterday's news. Who cares?
Yeah. You know, they're going to milk it for everything they can, just like everything else in life.
Yeah. So
Or
now
it'll-
we'll get another 3 movies that'll suck. You know?
Yeah.
Or it'll just get universally rejected like Death Note did.
Yeah.
or worse. It could be the next Dragon Ball Z live. You know.
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah. That
Monstrosity.
masterpiece of modern filmmaking.
Moving on.
Moving on. Other really cool news we reported yesterday. Soundtrack. There is a vinyl release coming out of Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. They're going to finally release the soundtrack.
That is my favorite Christmas special.
Yeah, a lot of us love that.
And
so,
it was funny when I shared it. I actually had to tag my mom in it. I'm like, oh my God, Mom, this is when my mom bought me a copy of it on DVD like 4 or 5 years ago. It was our thing when I was growing up, so
it's pretty popular.
It should be.
It's got kind of like a cult thing going.
It should be. The music in it's amazing, and the story's awesome. So I mean, what's not to love?
So, last bit of news for this week. Halloween, which we're going to be talking about tonight.
Yes.
Halloween 2018 made another $32.5 million.
Highest grossing
Outstanding.
October movie.
It's the highest grossing October release of all time.
Yep.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty
totally
cool.
No
deserves
problems
it.
with
It
that.
totally deserves it.
Love the movie.
We love horror here.
Yep.
We've made that known forever. We all love horror in some way or fashion.
Make sure you
And,
say it right. Horror. Yeah, because you don't want
Horror.
to offend anybody.
Yes.
We all love horror around here. Oh, wait.
Wait.
Wait,
We-
what? Hey,
On occasions, we love horrors.
we do, yes.
On
On
occasion.
Horror movies with horrors.
Yes.
Oh, that's the best kind.
Yes.
It is.
Not in
Or
a Jordan
horror.
Belfort kind of way.
Oh. In
It's not the Abel Ferrara kind of way.
in new releases this week, we've got Bohemian Rhapsody, which I reviewed last week. Go in with very, very tempered expectations. Rami Malek is great
I was
as
gonna
Freddie
say-
Mercury. The movie itself is every other biopic you've ever seen. They were not allowed to do a deep dig. The movie's too short. There's not enough music. And the members of Queen, Brian May, Roger Taylor, would not let them use the R-rated script they initially had written. So the movie suffers.
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury lived an R-rated life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from what I'm like, the big complaint I'm hearing is that it's a lot of slut shaming, like almost getting down on Freddie Mercury for having sex. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, come on.
It's not really slut shaming what I saw in it. It just made him out to look like the villain. That's
How sad is that?
yeah.
Dude's freaking dead.
Yeah.
I know it was a bit of a troubled production with Bryan Singer.
Leaving the
Yeah.
project.
Everybody
Yeah.
left that project.
Yeah.
Nobody
yeah.
wanted to work with the remaining members of Queen.
And
They
then,
were queens.
The other new release this week is Nutcracker in the Four Realms.
Actually, I really want to see that. I love the story.
My friend Nate, there was a screening tonight. For some reason, I was not made aware of this one. My friend Nate said it's very bad.
Really.
Yeah, he was there. So,
Oh.
yep. So, suggested viewings. I'm going to start.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually take the one Scott said last week because I actually just binge watched this over the weekend. Making a Murderer Season 2 is fabulous.
It is.
It's absolutely
It really-
fabulous. The way that story changes and all the things that happened in this second season, I know it's real life. It's literally like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
Everything that goes on. So if you've not seen Making a Murderer Season 2, check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to go with one that I reviewed for 31 Days of Hell, which was Quatermass in the Pit, which pretty much, if it hadn't been made, there wouldn't be a Life Force, there wouldn't be Prince of Darkness, there wouldn't be The Void, and all those films really draw heavily from it. And plus, it being Halloween, you can't go wrong with a good Hammer horror film.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I watched The Vampire Lovers the other night.
Did you?
Fabulous.
Good stuff.
Good
I keep telling you the Hammer stuff is great.
Yeah. I got that
yeah.
Blu-ray a while ago, and I watched it.
Yeah.
Great ad.
Hammer movies were
Yeah.
so far
Yeah.
ahead of their time, it's not even funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just picked up an 8-disc Hammer set from Best Buy. For just like $25, 8 Hammer movies. You can't go wrong.
No.
As long as it has Horror of Dracula. That's like...
Horror of Dracula I already own.
Okay.
I was all
I
good
would say
on
that's
that
like
one.
the peak one for me.
Oh, it's like Curse of the Werewolf, a lot of the different ones with
Okay.
Oliver Reed, Oliver May, and all those,
The
Oliver Reed is the werewolf, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oliver Reed at his height of drunkenness.
Was there? I don't know. I think he was
I don't think
kind
there
of
was
still.
a low point.
He was
I
still
think
kind
it
of
was-
striving to attain that when he died. Probably.
I'd say Hired to Kill is the height of his drunkenness, only because the story has it that there was a big action sequence at the end of the movie and
that's right,
helicopter.
that's
And he just took his dick out and started pissing all over the ground. All the cameras are rolling.
That sounds like a perfectly sober occurrence to me. I don't know what the hell.
That's
you're
what I
talking
do
about.
on Wednesdays, so I don't know. I don't
Just
know
an
what.
average Wednesday for Trevor.
That's right. Wednesday. if you
Since
guys
tomorrow's
get,
Wednesday and Halloween, so kids beware. Just don't go by Trevor's house.
if you get lucky, it might be on a Tuesday this week.
You want candy? Whips.
You want an action scene? I got your action scene.
Want some candy?
I've got some action for you.
Your turn, man.
Would you like a lollipop?
Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar, boy.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Oh, I went there. I'm
Too far.
sorry. Strange. I mean, I don't get out as much as I would like to, but
shows.
today I took my son to go and see Goosebumps 2 Haunted Halloween. I had a blast going to see that.
The
Very
first one was great.
high-spirited. To take your kids to go and see it, it's a really fun time. As far as like the overall feel and design of it, it's very good. A lot of energy and some really cool inspired creature design in it as well. I was actually surprised to find.
Do you need to see the first one to see it, or is it
No,
stand on
The
its
first
own?
one is worth seeing.
The first one
It
is
really
worth
is.
seeing. They do kind of, throw back a little bit of exposition to explain what happened in the first one, but you can go into this one cold and it's not really going to hurt you.
I need to do a Fear Street movie, or do you think it's way too late? Too many
Way
decades
too
I
later?
guess we'll see if this Goosebumps movie makes money. I'm not sure how well it's doing.
The first one did really, really well.
Yeah.
So
It had the TV series to back it up. I mean, it already had a pretty strong
and
following.
they really dipped into it for the first movie. I'm gonna go Sabrina, the new
yeah.
the new series on Netflix.
I've heard good things.
So good. It is nothing you would expect from it. Nothing. Like, we all have the Sabrina the Happy Teenage Witch,
The Melissa Joan Hart one, right?
or
Yeah.
even the one before. There was
Another one?
yeah. The Melissa Joan Hart was a remake.
Yeah. The series. Yep.
And this is the third time they've done it. This one is going back to the 70s. They actually did it. Is it 70s? I think it's the 70s. They actually did a Chilling Tales of Sabrina. And it was, the comic was very creep show. It was anthology horror series that Sabrina was the host of. And this one takes the seriousness of the horror from that comic and puts it in a Sabrina story. And I mean, you get full on devil worshipping, you get witches making dark pacts with Satan, like all of that is in there. And really good acting. So yeah, can't recommend it enough.
I've heard really, really good things about the show.
Yeah, it's a blast. It's an absolute blast. Like, the first 6 episodes go by and you're like, oh crap, I have things to do.
That's good to hear because Netflix has been so focused on just pumping out a wide variety, just a plethora of content, that the content itself kind of overall is starting to suffer lately. We're starting to see a lot of subpar Netflix content coming out.
This Friday, they're putting out that 40 years in the making Orson Welles film,
Yes.
The Other Side of the Wind.
Yeah, that, and I've heard that Gareth Hugh Evans has a film on there that's really worth watching. Paul Greengrass just released a Netflix film called July 22nd about the Norway terror attacks in 2011. I've heard that's really good and worth watching.
Yeah, my buddy
what's
Max
really
said it
cool,
was really good.
the stuff that I'm really getting into on Netflix is actually the stuff that they're using their service to import. Where they're getting other countries' programs and stuff and bring it here for us to see for the first time. Yeah. And it's really good. Some really good stuff coming up. All right.
So we're talking about the Halloween series tonight.
Yeah.
And we said we do want to focus a lot on the original and how the new one ties in. And we're going to kind of touch on the entire franchise,
I was going to
correct?
say, how do you want to handle this? Because we have a series with... Well, if you're just talking about the original series and not the Rob Zombie remakes, you're talking about 3 timelines.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about the Rob Zombie films on top of it, so you technically have 4.
Yep.
It's crazy. I mean, do you want to break it up? Like we can just go like back to the beginning and talk about the Thorn timeline, like everything that includes up to 6, except for 3, of course.
Yeah, we can do that. That's fine. Let's start off at the top.
All right.
Let's start off at the top.
With the masterpiece.
The masterpiece.
What can you even say about it?
Well,
what has
not been said?
What haven't
Exactly.
we already said on the podcast about it?
a lot because we've really never dug deep into this. I think the first Halloween, I watched it again in preparation for Halloween 2018.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because there's not a lot to the movie.
No,
it's a very streamlined, simple movie. It gets to the point, it gets to the kills, and it establishes him, obviously, as the Shape.
Yep.
But it kind of started the whole slasher trend of the 80s. This was kind of the originator, even though there were slasher movies before this.
There were.
This is the one that kind of defined and started the Jasons and the Freddys and all of that.
This is the masked killer going after teenagers, having sex, smoking pot, and drinking alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the commercial answer to Toby Hooper.
Yeah.
It also, a lot of horror
Even then,
films.
it wasn't very commercial. It was totally independent.
But it still made more to be.
It made more money
to be played in theaters where Texas Chainsaw really isn't.
Well, one thing that you see with Texas Chainsaw and many other horror films up to that time, even science fiction horror films, is the characters have to go a great distance to find the villain or the silent killer per se. And in Halloween, he lives right next door to the main characters. So it's...
Or in the beginning, he actually is in the house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the proximity with which Michael Myers is nearby, I think, is something that people hadn't seen before. The idea that the Norman Bates character could live next door to you.
Yeah, the idea of terror, evil, just a sick, twisted murderer coming to you where you're supposed to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not,
That's better.
way out in Texas bumblefuck in the middle of wherever with a whole bunch of human remains furniture.
It was the film that put John Carpenter on the map and made him known as one of the top tier horror film directors of the 1980s.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think before this, it was Elvis.
Both of them are musicians. I mean, John Carpenter, that opening cue of,
one
of
the best scores of all time. I think we
the
can
Halloween
all
score.
agree on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You hear that and you instantly know. You know.
The music?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not just iconic as a theme, but also it really puts you in the mood.
Yeah.
It
something's
lets you know
coming.
something's off. That 5/4 time of the score.
Yeah.
Just it always sounds a little off to the ear, and it puts you at unease.
And it's wonderful.
Was there any other horror film up to that point that used electronic music quite the way that film did before? I mean,
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
I mean, we look at so many films now, even most recently It Follows, and how much that electronic synthetic score is being repurposed or reused in films today.
Yeah, I mean, the wonderful thing about that synthetic scores that Carpenter realized is the dehumanization of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where it has that and it works in so many different genres that. But I mean, he kind of his life's goal was to focus on the dehumanization of people, and his music is perfect for it.
Well, what's funny is when I was kind of rewatching some of these last week, prepping for this, I didn't get to watch all of them again, but I did get through like 1 through 4.
Yeah, I made it 1 through 5.
It's kind of crazy how the music changes every movie. It becomes like more like 80s like synth rock as it goes, and there's like guitars and shit mixed in with it too.
Except for 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
three
yeah.
is all synth. Yeah.
Which is John Carpenter synth too.
Yeah, well, because John Carpenter did the music for 3.
Yeah, because eventually, I think for 2 and 3, he teamed up with Alan Howarth, and then after 3, originally he was going to be a part of the process of making 4. He wrote a script with Dan Etchison, I believe was the screenwriter's name, but Mustafa Cut thought it was too cerebral and threw it out, and so they hired the guy who would later write Spawn to come in and write a script in 11 days, essentially using the original as a blueprint.
Ooh,
And
Spawn.
yeah, and then Alan Howarth he scored all of the Thorn trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, and his music is really one of the high points of those 3 movies because he mixed in all kinds of craziness.
It's almost the only high point of those 3 movies.
I think 4 is still, of the Thorn timeline, is still the best of the sequels. Halloween 2, it gets a lot of love for reasons that I don't really understand.
Because the kills are spectacular.
The kills are good, the cinematography is good, the music is great, but it is full of plot holes. And you can tell that John Carpenter just did not give a shit.
And he had nothing to do with the screenplay.
Oh, he wrote it.
Supposedly.
He wrote it, but he was drunk off his ass on Budweiser the entire time. You can just ask him.
Yeah.
He was drunk in the middle of the night when he came up with that whole brother-sister thing.
I was going to say, because my whole thing is that he hated that.
He did. That's
all along.
That's one of the reasons why the 2018 timeline completely wipes all that out and starts fresh.
It's because I think it was pressure from producers.
What was the brother-sister angle?
Yeah.
Well,
to give a motivation.
Just felt like a repeat of the first film with half the inspiration.
Oh, yeah. At most.
And a bigger budget, but...
Yeah.
Although not big
And
enough to
more
have
boobs.
actual patients in the damn hospital.
Well, I mean,
You got
right.
the kid who bit into the glass cookie, and then Dr. Mixter, the drunk-ass surgeon, and then a couple of nurses.
Well, I mean, the new one was made on only $10 million,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
It looks
for
great.
for today's
For today's standard,
It was shot very quickly, too.
The nice
wasn't
part
it?
is that a lot of the equipment is cheap now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not hard to get good cameras. I mean,
Blake knows about that.
I have a wonderful camera, and I spent $2,000 on it. Winning.
nice.
Yeah, it's insane. So why do we think, I mean, what was it about Halloween that was so important, do we think?
I really think it taps into that elemental fear of an indistinct evil, lacking any and all motivation except other than to wreak havoc, coming to where you live, where you feel safe, and finding you.
It's Jaws as a human.
Yeah.
Or the alien is a human, for that
It's
matter.
in his nature, but we don't know what his nature is, and that's what makes him so scary.
Well, he's like he's a force of nature.
Yeah, he's evil.
just there to kill.
He's just pure evil. Loomis had it right.
And the less you know, the more mystery there is about it, the more frightening it is.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why the whole brother-sister angle just kind of killed it for me, and I think for a lot of people, is that in the opening sequence of the original movie, you see him walk upstairs as a young child, and you see his sister there brushing her hair, singing a song. And then 15 years later, he sees the back of Laurie Strode walking away, and she's singing a song. And that's all he needs. He's like, okay, you're next. That's a lot scarier than, I somehow know that this is my sister. And then there's those inexplicable flashbacks in the second movie where she somehow remembers going to visit him. And that's
pissed me
way too much. That just doesn't work.
Yeah. Like all of a sudden, now she's like, "Oh, I met him when I was a kid."
Oh, now I remember.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
No. One worked partially because it was creating something that nobody had seen before. It was creating a killer that, like Dave said, that lives amongst you. That
Blake.
Blake.
Yeah,
exactly.
I live
I thought you
amongst
said
you.
Dave.
Dave.
No, I said they.
Thomas, founder of
Oh,
Wendy's.
gotcha.
sorry.
They.
I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm
afraid
sorry.
I can't do that.
All right, Travis.
Okay.
Fuck.
Great. We got Hal at the end, Dave, and Travis.
Yeah.
I'll be whoever you want me to be. I mean, Mr. Herbert.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh.
Get
Hi,
your fat
Herbert.
ass
You
over
don't
here.
mind talking about it, do you, Dave?
Yeah. So, moving on to Halloween 2,
Yeah.
the brother-sister thing.
Yeah, I think we've all made that clear that that's fucking stupid.
It doesn't work.
And then what pisses me off is then that becomes inspiration for the rest of the fucking movies.
Yeah, from 4 through 6. That's
Yeah.
well, actually not even 4 through 6, and it carries over into 20 years later in Resurrection. That
Yeah.
whole idea, and I'm so glad that they decided to get rid of that.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it didn't give us good movies. I still think 4 is a really strong entry, despite the
4?
fact that it's completely derivative. It's just like the original movie. It's really atmospheric and suspenseful.
It was
and
well done, but
yeah,
that doesn't mean it was...
if it's really well done, you can forgive a lot of other
Kinda.
stuff.
It's got a very unique opening compared to the other Halloween films.
True.
Part 4 does.
Yeah, the Alan Howarth music and just the the sunset with Halloween decorations on the farm. It's a really it's a nice way to put you in that Halloween mood, even without the theme.
And see, that's what Carpenter kind of did, like with the first one, like, and even with the new one, like you really feel like, oh, it's October.
You know that it's that time of year. You know that what's happening.
Yep, and that is one thing that I will give Halloween 3, which is the outlier, and we can't do a podcast without talking about Halloween 3. Of all of the Halloween movies, it's the most Halloween. Like, of the actual season, it really kind of puts you in the mood.
Halloween.
Do not start.
Halloween. Have a happy
Please.
Halloween.
I kill you.
Silver Shamrock.
I kill you.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Exactly.
I did some reading up on 3 that makes me wish that we could have gotten the original concepts for it.
The Nigel Neal script. Yeah.
But you know that what there was there wasn't supposed to be any end credit music, right? That it was supposed to be the screams of millions of children dying. It was supposed to be what was played over the credits.
That would have been amazing.
instead of music.
That would have been very ballsy.
It would have been.
I can't imagine why a major studio didn't want to put out a film with that as its ending.
Personally, as far as 3 goes, I love 3. I think it's cheesy, but it's fun. It's a good 80s horror movie. In fact, it's better than a lot of the 80s horror movies.
It's better than a lot of the actual Halloween sequels that involve Michael Myers.
It is. And I love that it's directed by family for
Tommy
the
Lee
movies.
Wallace, yeah. And he, because he was the one who had originally made the mask. I mean, like, he didn't make the William Shatner mask that we would all
No,
come to
but
know
he's
and
the one
love.
who turned it
But he's
inside
the
out.
one, he's the one who brought it and turned it into what would become an icon.
Yeah.
Thing that was interesting about Halloween 3 was how they were going to briefly try and make it like a Night Gallery series or a Twilight Zone sort of episodic series.
I think that might have actually been preferable to most of the movies we got after 4.
And honestly, I think that would have worked had they just called the movie Season of the Witch instead of Halloween 3.
Well, the problem is the George A. Romero film with the same name years prior.
Fuck that movie.
That boring dud that we watched.
There's actually 4 Season of the Witch movies. Just
Really?
Yeah, wasn't there one with like Nick Cage or something? Or
there is a Nick Cage
You're
one
right,
now.
there was a
Yeah.
Season of the Witch.
But before that, there was 2 other ones before this one came out.
At this point, if there's a movie with a title, there's probably some direct-to-video knockoff with the same title starring Nick Cage.
Oh yeah, no. Season of the Witch was like some there was one with Nick Cage where it was like some sword play.
Yeah, like
movie.
a sword and sorcery movie.
Yeah.
It
Sword
actually-
fighting.
It was terrible, but I liked it.
I think Nick Cage wants to have a sword fight.
Ooh.
In
In
the
your mouth.
bathroom.
You mentioned
Don't cross the streams.
Nigel. You mentioned Nigel Neal earlier as the original screenwriter. He was the guy who created the Quatermass series, which when Carpenter was writing Prince of Darkness, he credited it to Martin Quatermass as a subtle nod to that whole series.
Well, what I love is that much like the original screenplay for 4, was turned down because it was too cerebral. So was Nigel's.
Which is a shame.
And so they took it and butchered it, and then butchered it some more. John Carpenter actually did the first rewrite, and then I can't remember his name now. The guy who ended
Tommy
up
Lee Wallace.
Tommy Lee Wallace ended up doing the final draft of it, and I guess Carpenter was kind of pissed, like, what was wrong with my script? Why'd you have to rewrite it? And yeah.
I mean, it would have been kind of cool if they did go the anthology route with the entire thing after Halloween 3, because then we wouldn't have gotten the H2O, and they could have literally waited 40 years and done another sequel, and it would have been really fucking cool.
That would have been amazing.
But the problem was that it lost so much money, and
it bombed.
And did so poor with the critics that they just...
I mean, they were so worried about it that they put Halloween in Halloween.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's a cardinal rule. You never put a better movie in the movie you're making.
Yeah. I mean, you know what we're talking about, right? When he's in the bar, and all of a sudden you hear the theme music to the original, and then they're talking about it being on TV that night.
Completely takes you out of it, too.
It totally removes you from the movie.
And it's a very tonally confused movie in general. It's more of a send-up of James Bond movies than it is...
Oh, it really
like
is.
a Halloween
now that you
movie.
think about it. It really is.
Because you got a dude...
You got a weird Irish dude with a world-destroying plot.
Yeah, you got the hesitant hero who gets involved in this plot for global takeover, with this corporatist, Jagoff, played by Dan O'Herlihy. He gets involved with the dead dude's daughter, starts banging her, and then the next thing you know, the villain is walking him through his lair and explaining every step of his plan.
Oh, yeah.
This is a Bond movie.
Like, down to the... Look, you have no idea how hard it was to steal this blue stone from Stonehenge.
Yeah, that didn't particularly make sense that they were able to secretly smuggle
good luck
Stonehenge
sneaking
around.
that into your fucking carry-on.
But I was able to overlook it and still be entertained by it.
Oh, it's entertaining as hell. I love the movie. I love the kid dying and snakes and bugs coming out of his head.
That was one thing that was very different about this Halloween, was how much more focused. It was less focused on scares and more focused on gross out body horror,
which
and
worked.
scary story, like scary concept. Like, I think that was the most important part of the movie, is that the concept is freaking terrifying.
When they were marketing this movie, though, did they? I mean, people had to know Michael Myers is not in this movie.
No, they didn't.
No, they had no idea.
It wasn't. What was really funny is that, like, a week before the movie came out, Don Post Studios put out the masks in stores.
I think I remember that when I was a
Shamrock
kid.
mask, yeah. And that was all we freaking knew about the movie before it came out. Was that, oh, look, there's a skull, a witch, and a pumpkin mask. And it has something to do with the new Halloween movie, and Don Post made the masks. Cool.
And by the way, referring again to the new 2018 film, very nice touch putting the silver shamrock masks in there.
Yes.
That got a lot of knowing giggles in the audience at both of the screenings that I went to.
Yeah. Well, I only got to see the one, but yeah. A bunch of us in the theater, like...
We could just skip over 5.
Well, 4 was the first movie with Danielle Harris.
I love 4. Danielle Harris is a big part of why I love 4. I think it's
Danielle Harris,
one of the best child performances of the genre.
In horror, period, yeah.
It's up there with Linda Blair. I mean, it's obviously not going to get nominated for an Oscar, but it's a really good performance.
Yeah,
Danny Lloyd.
Danielle Harris, not Danny Lloyd.
No, we were talking about other child actors in horror
Oh,
films.
yeah, The Shining, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
An honorable
and
mention.
the little boy, I can't remember his name now, from The Omen.
Damien.
Oh, yeah.
Not Damien the actor, you jackasses.
His name
you guys
was
are
Damien.
breaking out all the actors'
No,
names.
his real name is Damien.
You son of a bitch.
He's the spawn of Satan.
Really?
The devil
Is that how that
touches-
worked? I missed that plot point in the movie.
You can only cast people that have those names in the movie.
But yeah, I mean, first of all, Danielle Harris is smoking now.
She still is. I back in April, the day after my birthday, I met her in person at Motor City Nightmares.
Nice.
Over in Novi. And I could tell that she was just kind of done with the day. but she was still very sweet. You know, she wasn't cold to me or anything. I got a picture of her somewhere with me, but
I bet you do.
yeah, oh yeah, I do. I saw Hatchet 3, but
Hey.
But she continues to do she's still like a horror chick.
Oh yeah. She's
That's
in
mainly what she does.
Still a scream
she's in
queen.
Rob Zombie Halloween.
yeah,
God.
that was one bit of casting that everybody was on board with.
I thought that was great.
Nobody complained about Malcolm McDowell as Loomis, and no one complained about bringing back Danielle Harris.
Did anybody complain about? Wasn't it Tyler Mane that took over for?
No one really complained about him either. Everybody just wondered why Michael Myers suddenly had to be a 7-foot-tall behemoth in order to scare people.
And why you needed Rob Zombie hair.
Why he had to
The
look
real
like Rob
question is
Zombie.
why
Yeah.
Rob Zombie has to mentally project himself onto half of his fucking characters.
Yeah.
Every movie he's done.
Every movie, there's got to be a Manson poster on the wall. This person needs dreadlocks. This person needs a beard. And I got to look at my wife's ass. And I'm going to pay somebody to photograph it.
Yeah, I'm not a Sherry Moon fan.
Somebody's a fan of Sherry's Moon, though. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
So Rob, if you're listening, kill them, not me.
yeah.
But yeah, 4 was great. 5, it sets up like a plot and then completely abandons it.
I
After
know!
Like 5 minutes, and then it's just back to the status quo, and you have nothing but annoying characters who prank each other, and then this wide open, completely inexplicable twist ending that took 6 years for somebody to figure out, and then it was arguably one of the most interesting failures of any franchise ever. Halloween 6.
That's the dog.
So
The
we're
dog's going to bed.
hot dog.
Hot dog.
I hear you up
Night,
there.
Mocha.
And get you a milk bone.
So we've kind of overlooked Donald Pleasance's involvement in the series. I mean, he was a great character actor throughout the 70s, occasional Bond villain, but he really came into his own with Dr. Loomis. I mean, he made...
Oh, see, I would say that it was a step down for him,
Really?
personally. Like Great Escape, I still think is the best he ever did in a movie.
Mine would be Wake and Fright, but that's just me.
I like Wake
Oh
Up
my
Friday.
God, dude.
But it was a complete career renaissance for him. I know
Yeah.
originally
Yeah,
they
I know
also...
where you're coming from with it because
Yeah.
this was like he was kind of like
His
in the
70s
spotlight,
were
out of
kind
the
of-
spotlight, and then like he was thrust back into it.
Yeah, he was kind of out.
Yeah, I can agree with that. entirely.
And then I guess they also offered the role to Christopher Lee, who turned it down, and then later admitted that was one of the biggest mistakes he ever made in his life. Because
can you
it gave
imagine
a
Christopher
huge
Lee?
shot
For
to that.
Lee in a Halloween film.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen, or just screen test footage would have been cool.
But you know what's funny though? You know what I can't see? Christopher Lee being scared of Michael Myers.
Yeah. I think Michael Myers would be scared of Christopher Lee.
Right?
Yeah, all he's going to do is show his vampire fangs and watch Michael Myers circle
Yeah.
away.
Or he can just stand around and be freaking Saruman and still be scary. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Like, what are you going to do? Because Dracula fucking owns the place.
Right?
Or Count Dooku.
Oh, fuck that shit.
How about Scaramanga?
What?
The man with the golden gun.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry.
Fucking heathens.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking heathens. Philistines. Yeah, we're all Philistines.
So I've never seen the theatrical cut of Part 6. I've only seen the producer's cut.
The producer's cut is better.
A little.
But there's a couple of caveats here. The theatrical cut is a mess from start to finish, and watching it, you feel like the person who edited it was deliberately trying to antagonize epileptics. And then, I mean,
Edited like an Uwe Boll film.
yeah, but there are a couple of things about the theatrical cut that are better. One is asshole dad, who for some reason, oh, by the way, yeah, the Laurie, the new Strodes, her names are John and Deborah. A nice nod there, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. When John Strode's head explodes in the theatrical cut, that's not in the producer's
In case nobody
cut.
knows what he's talking about.
John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when his
Do
head
you get it?
explodes,
Do you get it?
That's better. But then you have a movie that's really heavy on atmosphere, really heavy on dread. I mean, Joe Chappelle is a really kind of crap director. Also made Phantoms, but the producer's Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms. I know.
Yo. Yeah.
But it shows that he can do really well with mood and atmosphere, but he found Donald Pleasance boring. That was That needs a punch in the face.
That deserves one, definitely.
Yeah. That's so in the theatrical cut is very light on Loomis, very light on suspense, very light on coherence.
Yeah.
Producer's cut is heavier on all of those things, but then you get an ending that just makes you go, really? Because Michael Myers, the epitome of all evil, gets stopped by a bunch of runes on the floor. and that's how it
works on
ends.
Supernatural.
You work on Supernatural.
I would.
So I would rather watch the
I've never seen
theatrical-
that show.
I would
Me neither.
rather watch the producer's cut, but I would love to go in and actually
I don't know if I've ever seen
take
the
those
producer's
moments
cut.
that I like and put it into the
I don't think I've ever seen the producer's cut of 6.
I own it. I'll let you borrow it.
Cool.
Isn't it in the box set?
Yes, of course.
It's not in the Scream Factory one.
You can buy it now on its own if you go on Amazon.
Okay. Because I have the Scream Factory
Yeah, the big box.
10-disc
Yeah.
set. Yeah.
That thing is expensive now.
I know. I paid $20 for it.
Yeah, I paid like $50 for it, and it's like $250 on eBay now.
Really?
wow.
Yeah, but I'm not selling it.
No.
No, I'm keeping
no.
that.
There's some things you just don't sell.
There's a bunch
Halloween.
of them getting standalone 4K remasters now, like 2 and 3. So I'm kind of buying them piecemeal.
Scream is putting them all out with like new transfers and steel books. Like
Yep.
you dicks.
They just double
I
and
don't
triple dip that shit.
Yeah,
They are.
don't be Chris George.
If
I
Shout
only-
Factory was a penis, it would have super herpetogonosyphilades by now.
I only had a DVD of part 3 up to that point, so I was fine with getting the steelbook of it.
Yeah. Well, I've had that box set since about a year after it came out. I went into Best Buy and they had it for like I said, like $20-$25, and I was like, I can't fucking turn down all of them, including the Rob Zombies, for freaking $25.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. Should we
I'm a weirdo when it comes
no, it's
to
all
those.
good. Should we move on to the retcon now? Because 6 was such a failure, they had to reboot everything.
Yeah,
They
all the-
completely wiped out 3 through 6 and then gave us 20 years later. I refuse to call it H2O because that's fucking water. That's not a movie.
yeah.
High quality H2O.
It would have been a better movie if the Water Boy was
You
the
guys are
villain.
on fire tonight.
Water sucks. It really, really sucks.
Even from what I know, Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't a big fan of it. I think it's a fun movie.
I love why she wanted to do it.
I do too.
That she's like, cool, let's kill Michael and end the series.
Isn't Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that movie too?
Yes.
Yeah, briefly.
And he shows up wearing a hockey mask, and the director made Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3, so it's a nice little
Nod.
Easter egg
Little
for
nod.
you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
Remember me?
I guess they
I
had
made
worked
these
together
movies.
before on a drama, Forever Young, with Mel Gibson.
Oh, yeah,
Jamie
that
Lee
was a good
Curtis was
movie.
in that too. Yeah, Steve Miner directed that too.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
So was Halloween 20 years later? Was this the first time that somebody attempted to retcon something?
No.
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 No, even though it wasn't on purpose, I would say Highlander 2 was kind of a retcon. And that
Highlander
was long
2 was-
before that.
Well,
Okay.
Highlander 2 was a retcon, and Highlander 3 was a
another
retcon of 2.
And then 4 was another retcon.
Yeah.
I think every
Highlander
sequel in
just
the
kept-
Highlander series is a retcon.
Let's reinvent the series.
They kept trying to fix it up with a Renegade cut and then a director's cut, and it just was a waste.
Yeah, that's why like
Highlander-
Halloween 6, you could polish a turd all you want, but nothing was going to fix that script. Nothing
Yeah.
could.
And-
when
and-
the idea is that Michael fucked his own niece at the behest of this cult so that they could have another baby, but his curse is to kill his bloodline. So why would he
Right.
why would he do that just
Right.
to have another thing to kill? It doesn't make any fucking whatever.
It
The whole
doesn't make
thing-
sense that you would have a sex drive either.
I got an aneurysm.
I was gonna say him fucking his own niece was the least of the concerns with that movie.
I mean,
Yeah.
we would have understood if it was Danielle Harris, but in 6 it was J.C. Brandy. I mean, who the fuck is that?
No one now.
And this was one that had Busta Rhymes in it, right?
No, that was a Resurrection.
That's Resurrection.
Which
that
should
has
have been
Busta
called
Rhymes.
Erection because it sucks a big fat one.
He's not wrong. H2O is the one with LL Cool J.
Oh.
Yes. Who almost walks away with the movie in his pocket.
He is so good in that movie.
He's funny as hell.
He's great in that movie.
He's not a bad actor.
No, I really like him.
That was like-
he made Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was like 2 movies within a year of each other that he plays a bit like supporting role in, And he's the best
Right,
thing about
right.
the movies.
I liked him in Toys with Robin Williams.
Yeah, he was good in that too. But no, I love that his contract for horror movies specifically says that if you're going to hire me, you can't kill my character. Like, nope, I am not dying in your fucking movie.
That's very smart.
And he's like, I'm not going to be that random black victim.
The Black Knight always triumphs. Have it, you.
That guy always dies
It's just
first.
a flesh wound.
I'll bite your legs off.
Get back here, you pansy!
So what's next?
Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Unfortunately,
One of the most...
like how did they get Jamie Lee Curtis to come back?
She made them promise to kill her.
Oh, that's right.
She made them
So
promise.
basically, she was Han Solo.
Because she
Yeah,
read
yeah.
that fucking script and she's like, there's no way I want to live through this.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Well, no, she was out.
She
with
went
Halloween
Sigourney
with-
Weaver
with-
on the script.
with water.
It's like,
Yeah,
you got to
well,
kill
no,
me at the end of this.
She lived at the end of
Did
the
they,
No, but
like-
no, but she wanted to be out. With
She wanted to
water.
be out, yeah. That has one of the best. I mean, we mentioned Highlander just ironically, but that has like the best Highlander ending.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was so ballsy. It's like she cuts his fucking head off with an axe. It's a great ending to
Yeah.
a movie that. I mean, otherwise
They
it
could have
wouldn't have
ended
been
it there.
memorable. It wouldn't have been memorable without that ending.
They should have
Oh, it
dumped
would've
her
been
into
LL
a
Cool
vat
J.
of lava at the end, and a little baby Michael Myers should have burst out of her chest, and she could have huggled it.
That would have been better than Halloween Resurrection.
That
Should
would
have
have
dropped her in a vat of Axis chemicals, and she turns into the Joker.
Oh yeah,
There we
yeah.
go.
Oh, that would have actually Jamie Lee Curtis would make a good Joker. There you go.
The first female Joker.
Joaquin
Actually, I could
Phoenix
see that.
is Jamie Lee Curtis as the Joker.
In the 80s, I could see Jamie Lee Curtis as Catwoman.
Oh yeah.
Actually, in True
I
Lies,
still,
I
I
could say
still
True
have,
Lies, she-
I still have a crush on her.
In-
I've
in
had
True-
one since the 80s. It's alive and well after watching the new.
even if
Halloween.
you didn't have a crush on Jamie Lee Curtis in the 80s, everyone had a crush on her after True Lies.
yeah, that pole
Mm-hmm.
dancing scene.
Arnold did
That's
not have
sexy.
to act in that scene. He just
No.
he drops the recorder on the thing.
Oh
Dance sexy.
Dance sexy time now. Do it.
You do it now.
no, go slower.
Are we gonna die? Yep.
Boris and Doris.
They're gonna shoot us in the head, or they're gonna torture us to death. Oh, they're gonna leave us here to the bomb.
I fucking love that movie.
You ever killed anyone? Yeah, but
Yep.
they were all bad.
But they were all bad guys.
Honey, next
So-
time, duck.
I love that movie.
When is that gonna get a fucking Blu-ray release?
Right?
Someone, for the love of God, tell me.
When the Abyss
Please.
gets the Blu-ray first.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah.
So
Don't get me
Jim
started.
Cameron, if you're listening,
We want both of those movies
Please.
with 4K transfers and beautiful.
It makes no sense. It makes literally no sense. Those are not on Blu-ray.
they re-released Avatar,
Dude,
already.
Basic Instinct 2 is on Blu-ray.
Right.
Like,
that's enough said right there.
if we
Well-
don't have those two movies, give me a fucking break.
I know they said they were doing a Wetgate scan of the Abyss, but however long that'll take, that
I'd like
could,
to see a Wetgate scan of Basic Instinct, if you know what I mean.
Sorry, Mom.
Prom night does not suck, Heather.
Heather sucked on prom night. Hey,
Oh!
I went there.
did.
I still love her. She knows I do. Anyway, erection. What is it called? Oh, resurrection.
Resurrection.
Erection. I think we covered it already. It's a
It's
piece
so
of shit.
bad. Yeah, Busta Rhymes. When Busta Rhymes is the star of your movie.
When when it's like Jamie Lee Curtis and Busta Rhymes star in Halloween Resurrection. It's like,
And that chick that they got, the main character, watching her try to act is like watching somebody with no thumbs try to use chopsticks. I don't know who she blew to get
the-
that role.
mental image in my head now.
And when people ask me why I'm not a big fan of Halloween 2, I'm like, did you watch Halloween Resurrection? Same director, motherfucker.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
No, that doesn't.
Like, oh, he's
Oh,
come
yeah, I
back.
did
It's going to
right-
be
yeah.
great. No,
Yeah.
it's a piece of shit, just like the last time.
Yeah, like, didn't you learn your lesson? You're
but a
gonna throw
lot
more
of
money at this
lot
guy?
of people really like 2. A lot of people really like 2. A lot of people think that the adding depth to Michael Myers makes him cool.
I'm not going to lie. Every time I watch the first one, I always watch 2. Even if I'm not
Yeah,
the biggest
because
fan, I still
just
watch
because it's
it.
continuation
Well,
of
they-
the same story, and then you get the end.
They fit together really well. They're
Yeah,
puzzle
they do.
pieces. They work together, but
That doesn't mean that the second
doesn't
half
mean it's
doesn't
a-
blow.
yeah.
For the television cut of the first Halloween, didn't they use scenes from Halloween 2?
Oh no, they didn't use scenes from Halloween 2, but Carpenter actually took the crew from Halloween 2
Yeah,
on
to-
off
to
days
shoot.
to go and shoot new scenes for the TV cut. Like they had the interior of the Smiths Grove room where Michael was supposed to be during the infamous flashback where
Yeah,
Laurie
yeah.
magically remembers having met Michael before, and they redressed that and wrote "sister" on the wall in blood and shit like that for.
Wow, how creative.
Whoa.
Okay, so what's after Resurrection then?
Rob Zombie.
Oh, fuck my life. Do we really even need to fucking
Yes,
talk about
we
these
are.
bullshit?
We're going to boil down one
Yes,
of
we
the
are.
greatest killers of the big screen of all time.
It's crazy.
to
We're actually
white
gonna cover,
trash
like-
redneck
like
problems.
10 or 11 movies. We're actually going to like fit it in tonight.
Hey,
How nice.
You know what?
I'm an expert at fitting it in. What can I say?
I am the outlier on this one. I adore the first Rob Zombie Halloween. I love it because I am of the mind that killers like Hannibal Lecter are a hell of a lot scarier than killers like Michael Myers. Where
I'm not following you on that one.
I'm not either, but
there's an animus, where there is a motivation, where they have a past, they have a life, they have a background, they are a fully fleshed out character, is more interesting to me than the old school Wolverine, I have no past, I'm just good at what I do bullshit. And that's all Mike Myers was.
That would be fine if the motivations that we got actually were more than just white trash redneck problems.
But it was
And that's
more than
essentially the only characters that Rob Zombie knows how to write, so I figured that's what we were going to get.
that. But it was more than that if you actually paid attention.
I did. I've seen the movie like 6 times.
Me too. But they make it very clear to say that it wasn't just the abuse, that it wasn't just that stuff, that he
It was a white horse.
Oh, God. That was in 2, right?
Yes.
That-
See,
No matter how
see,
many times
the
you
second
read.
one, the second one I fucking hate. The
There's
first one I liked.
See, when I saw the first Rob Zombie Halloween, when
Wild
it first
and
came
Wonderful
out,
Whites of West Virginia,
yeah,
pretty much.
yeah, but like, I kind of liked the first one he did, and I guess I kind of liked a little bit of the backstory. I thought it was okay, other than Sherry Moon, because she drives me up a fucking wall.
But she blows her own head off. What's not
yeah.
to like about that?
Right? Yeah, that's true.
Her acting really kind of kills what should be a phenomenal moment because, I mean, I'm not going to argue with you about certain aspects of that movie because there are moments of true greatness in Rob Zombie's Halloween. When he just nonchalantly decides, you know what, I'm going to murder my whole fucking family and it's going to be awesome. And he does it wordlessly, doesn't say a thing.
Yeah.
And he just goes through the house. You see him
That
tie up his
kid-
dad, go after his sister, pull the mask on. All of that stuff is phenomenal. And then you immediately follow it up with Sherry Moon Zombie acting like a hysterical lunatic outside, and it completely undercuts all of the tension and build-up
Right, right.
Yeah.
that was established before that. It's just gone.
Yeah.
I liked some of the stuff that Zombie recreated in the first one. Like, a lot of, like, the tone was there. Some of the cinematic stuff was squeezed into the remake, but it was all that extra shit that I kind of didn't fall in love with. But it was really part 2 that ruined
Part one.
part 1 for me.
And I think that's the syndrome
That
that
makes
a lot of
sense.
people have.
I thought-
for me, I saw it in the theater. I thought it was really a fucking solid Halloween movie. And then 2 came out and pissed all over the first one.
The second one tends to piss off anybody who defended the first one. That's what I've discovered.
Yeah.
It's a Rob Zombie movie. So essentially, if you're a big fan of The Devil's Rejects and you found something to like about The Lords of Salem and even his animated film, Haunted World of El Super Bisto,
That movie was hysterical.
you're probably going to find some things to like in Halloween too. But with that being said,
Like
the
Mr.
theatrical
Weird
cut
Al.
is a lot better than the director's cut. That's the only thing available apparently on Blu-ray.
Well, that's true
Yeah.
of both of them, the first and the second one. Like the first one, he doesn't just get out. There has to be a scene where the orderlies rape one of the mental patients.
completely useless.
And that's how Michael escapes. Like, really?
Yeah.
You need to let us know that you're a Rob Zombie film, that you got to stick rape scenes in your movie just cause?
I would rather have the Bill Moseley and Leslie Easterbrook cameos that we got from the theatrical version, where he just randomly decides, bink bink, and I'm going to kill some security guards.
Well,
and get
He
out.
cut those out?
He cut that out completely of his director's version.
I think part of the problem is when you start to do stuff like that, Rob Zombie rape scenes, shit like that. Like now you're taking what was a standard horror trope of a slasher, and now you're turning like Carpenter's vision and other people's vision into like exploitation, which is what Zombie does for the most part. And I think that is probably the crux of the problem with
That's if you don't like exploitation films.
yeah, which I do.
Yeah.
I do, but I don't need my exploitation moved into the world of Halloween.
Yeah.
Like there's a time and place for it for me.
Eh.
Yeah.
But with that being said,
I have no sacred cows.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense.
I'm all for it when it works, when it fits.
I thought it was jammed in and worked against the movie. It took me out of the movie.
That part did ruin it, but like some of the scenes in the Insane Asylum, I thought were amazing. All of the Danny Trejo scenes.
Danny Trejo is when Danny
He's Danny
Trejo
Trejo.
is like the heart of your film. I guess the world is ending.
Ken Foree is in it too, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch.
I love Joe Grizzly.
There's no justice for Joe Grizzly, son of a bitch.
No, like
But we got
Danny
to spend the
Trejo.
whole movie with the family, the fuckity fucks.
I will give Halloween 2 this. At least through and through, it's a Rob Zombie film. The first half of it feels like a Rob Zombie film. The second half, he's just imitating Carpenter, I felt.
I'll give you that one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, in the first one.
Right.
In the first
one.
because it feels like two movies kind of stuck together.
Right.
Well, and then the second one that he did, I mean, it's like total psychedelia, like towards the end with the white horse and mommy coming back and all the tripped out visuals and shit.
That I will give
Weird Al
it. I
Yankovic.
love the visuals in Halloween 2. I mean, Brandon Trost was his DP
Oh, that's right.
on Halloween 2, and when it goes trippy, even when the trippy stuff doesn't work, it looks really cool. It's a very nice movie to look at when Brandon Trost is actually allowed to go out there and do what he does.
All right, I think we're on to the
Halloween?
true sequel to Halloween.
The one that just
Which
came
I
out.
love.
Loved
I
it.
do. I've seen it twice now. I absolutely love this movie.
I want to see it a lot more.
I have the soundtrack on my phone. I've listened to it while I edit. I would listen to it on the way over here just to get in the mood because
I want to know what Andrew thought on this. Let's give him the floor for a second.
Yeah.
Because I've not really heard your thoughts at all on this movie.
Of the new Halloween?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was the best possible sequel that you could have made compared to the other films. It was the most satisfying. It was in the spirit of the original, but it built on it. There was one weak link in it, which I think everyone here agrees on, which was the doctor putting the mask on. That I thought, okay, I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to get Michael to, Laurie somehow, but it felt like a major contrivance. But otherwise, I have no complaints. I thought it was great.
I thought that part with the doctor, I was like, oh no, they're really doing this. Like I thought, okay, spoilers, people. If you're listening, if you're watching, whatever,
we're
there's gonna be
spoiler-free
spoilers
movie
here.
sleuth.
Yeah, but podcasts are kind of fall outside of that most of the time. With the doctor, like I thought, oh shit, he really killed Michael. Now he's going to try to become the killer.
Thank God that didn't happen.
That's where I thought they were going with it. When he puts the mask on and shit, I'm like, oh no, really, we're doing this shit again?
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, I still think that was the biggest miscue in the entire movie. Other than that, it was
What helped it is that it was over quick.
Mm-hmm.
and
I
then
think
everything
they-
got right back on track.
I think they might have done that as just a little like nod to the fucked up directions that all the other ones went.
Or just at the end of 4, when
Mm-hmm.
Jamie puts on the clown mask and stabs her stepmother to death.
And what the fuck was up with him being fake Dr. Loomis? I'm like, you didn't have Loomis in here. We didn't need to have, and you said this when we were having that outside
Yeah.
little discussion.
Yeah.
We didn't need to have a Loomis character here.
No,
we didn't. We could have completely skipped over the whole doctor thing.
I would have been fine with just the sheriff who shot him the first time.
Dr.
Yeah.
Loomis's fucking understudy was not needed.
He did serve a purpose, I guess, in the overarching idea of the story, because there was a theme here of people trying to understand Michael, which really is a critique of all of the other sequels.
Yeah.
So, and that's it. So when you roll that character in with that mindset, it becomes kind of a meta critique of everything that came before. It was like, oh, well, we got to figure out this. We got to flesh out this part of his backstory. We need to understand Michael. No, you don't.
No.
It's creepier when you don't.
One of the negative comments that I've been hearing a few people say, and they're not totally wrong, I just don't really mind it, is that they sort of turned Laurie into Sarah Connor in this new film.
I'm fine with that.
But what's wrong with
I'm
that?
fine with it too, but you know,
Yeah, I
the
don't
way
see an
she's
issue with that.
the way she's dressed, the way she goes through all the preparation. It's
Oh, she
Sarah
doesn't have like
Connor.
she doesn't have like the black tank top on, you know. And
It's not like she might have
still-
PTSD.
She still has a tank top on though.
Yeah, she does.
She does.
yeah, but not
I didn't even
Thankfully.
actually, I never even thought of that comparison, and now I'm like,
Holy shit.
damn.
It's a little accurate.
It would have been
It
nice to
is.
have another scene, you know, where she's just, you know, in her bedroom and her bed's on its side and she's doing fucking pull-ups on it.
It
Yeah.
doesn't take away from my enjoyment of the film. It's just something I noticed.
I don't think it's a negative. Like, I mean, I think they're bringing up the comparison just because that's the only thing that they can think of that's another strong woman in a movie that is ready to go to war. You know, I mean, it's
and also going to rescue her kid.
Yeah. And think about this, too. We've seen another director's take on this sort of PTSD Laurie Strode. I'll take this one 10 times out of 10.
This
because-
one makes more sense.
Yeah, how she was in 20 years later was essentially just a reason for
Can we just call it
jump
water?
scares and false flags, and then all of a sudden at the end she becomes a badass.
Yeah, all of a sudden she's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to kill you.
I did think Jamie Lee Curtis was fantastic in the part. She really
yeah.
acted the hell out of it. If she doesn't get an Oscar nomination, I'll be very surprised.
I doubt she will, but
Just because it's a
I-
horror film.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a horror film, they'll shut her out. But yeah, I mean,
well, they might
very.
not. I mean,
Sigourney Weaver got nominated for Aliens.
That's true.
let,
But we live in different times now.
last year Jordan Peele.
That's true too. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Also a Blumhouse production.
You know, like I'm getting like very like mixed reactions from everybody online. Like this
Yeah, so
isn't
am I.
one of those like,
Michelle hated it.
yeah, Michelle did not like it. It's really weird. This isn't like Justice League where most people are like, I hate that movie. Even though me and you both kind of like the movie.
We both can see some upsides to it.
Yeah, but most people will say like, I hated that movie.
Yeah.
Like
And
this,
it's
it's really like
visceral hatred for it, for the Justice League.
Like-
for this, it's really weird. It's like the fanboys, I think for the most part, are like, holy shit, they checked all the boxes.
yeah.
And the people, and I'm not saying Michelle's a casual fan of the Halloween series. I don't know where she stands on it. But the people that I think are a little bit more casual about Halloween, or really liked and I know she hates the Rob Zombie ones, or the ones that love the Rob Zombie ones, are the ones saying this fucking sucks. Because I think it was people like me that dug the Animus, and the only reason why I think the Rob Zombie ones hit well for me was because I had just gone through how many sequels with terrible movies, and then this one was a nice the Rob Zombie one was a nice refreshing change.
I'll give you that, because you can't say Rob Zombie ruined the franchise when the movie right before that had Busta Rhymes in a Michael
Exactly.
Myers mask doing kung fu noises and saying "trick or treat, motherfucker."
Exactly. And this one, the fact that it erases all of that horribleness
That makes me happy.
Made my heart sing. If some of you didn't see us on the live cast we did right after the screening that Chris and he and I went to, we were all just overjoyed, excited. Like, it was the sense of like, holy shit, something we love is back.
I
was
got
on a
excited
high.
just watching you guys.
Yeah. I mean, it honestly, it felt like a rebirth for the series. Like, if they want to keep going with it, they can.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have to. We know they are, because they already...
Because of how
It's
much money
making
this
money.
made.
Well,
Making
no,
money hand over fist.
they had actually already contracted for 2 or 3 more before we even went to the press screening. So...
They had faith in it, and
They knew.
It's well placed.
It's got a built-in audience that will go to see it.
It's got a built-in audience, and I think Blum watched it and went, yeah, this is going to work.
We got it right.
We did it.
And the reshoots in this particular one actually really helped it, because if you watch the early trailers, the original ending for the new Halloween involved, I guess, a knife confrontation between Laurie and Michael on the front lawn of her property while she's trying to defend her granddaughter. She stabs him, and then she takes a knife to the chest. Her daughter shoots him with a crossbow. He stumbles away and dies amongst the mannequins in the backyard.
Yeah.
And that could have been visually interesting, because you have essentially an expressionless, lifeless entity dying amongst other expressionless, lifeless entities. Symbolically, that works. But it doesn't bring Laurie's character arc full circle with the use of that basement trap.
With the mannequins, though, like when you mention that, I'm instantly taken back to the remake of Maniac that had all the mannequins in it.
Yeah.
Like, that could have been very, like, spectacular visually, especially if he died amongst the mannequins. Then same kind of thing with the fire in the basement.
Yeah.
You don't really know if he's dead or not. He just kind of falls into
The fire.
Yeah, but he falls in with the mannequins. Like, what better way for him to
But even then,
hide and survive? You
would
know?
actually, but he already did that once in the movie. I think that's one of the reasons why they decided to go ahead and reshoot that.
Earlier,
because he
earlier
already
up in the
hid
upstairs,
behind a mannequin.
Okay,
so
okay,
you kind of
gotcha.
already
Would've been
have
hit him
that
at that point.
thematic
Oh,
parallel
that's right.
in
I
there.
forgot about that part.
Yeah, that was such a great sequence, too.
And I love that they felt free to shoot a lot of that just flat out in the dark. You have Laurie's flashlight, and that's it.
Yeah.
You can't really see anything else on the screen. So
you get to see what she sees, and that's it.
It's it feels more threatening that way when it doesn't look like it's lit so Hollywood.
Yeah. The whole movie felt like a return to everything that made the Carpenter one great.
Yeah, especially long takes, and I have to say that one long take where he's walks in the house with the hammer, kills the lady, picks up the knife, walks through the house, pauses at the crib, goes out the front door to the house next door, all in one fluid take. I think we may have a best new shot of the entire franchise with that moment. That is phenomenally directed and shot.
That and the shots in the gas station.
Yeah.
I just remember a lady sitting behind us when he walked by the crib going, "You shouldn't have killed the baby."
But it made you actually think that he could, because earlier in the film he killed a kid. It's like when he pauses at the crib, you could hear everyone around us in the theater
we
go,
all sucked in air. Instantly. It was
the first character to die is a child in the new Halloween.
Yeah.
When the kid runs back to the truck. After his
Oh,
dad
that's
goes to
right.
investigate.
That's right.
Well, that's the first
the first to die on camera.
On-screen death, yeah. Man, the death toll in this one was just... I think I counted 18 character deaths.
I actually went through and counted after seeing it the second time. I think it's just shy of that. I want to say it's 16.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, and remember the
Because
doctor
I thought there was
gets his head stomped in?
four murders in the
That
gas
was a
station.
nice little...
Which is funny because it's a throwback. If it is exactly 16, then it's a throwback to the number of people he was supposed to have killed in 1 and 2 together. Because when they do that long exposition thing with the security guard at the beginning of Part 4, they said he killed 16 people, maybe more. So if it's a
Oh,
death
that's
toll
right.
of 16, good throwback. I like that.
But
Yeah.
yes, the head smashing scene of the doctor.
It was like the head stomp and drive.
Oh, that was
Only over a lot quicker.
that was so.
His head exploded like Alpo dog food.
Yeah, dude, it was just like smash, smash. I'm like, oh my god, no way.
like, wow, am I watching American History X?
Yeah, oh god.
Put your mouth on the curb.
Imagine
You're
American
welcome.
History X directed by Nicholas Winding Refn.
Oh God.
That would have been an uncompromising movie. It would have been closer to what Tony Kane envisioned.
Yeah.
Before Edward Norton started meddling.
Can you imagine
Before Edward Norton,
the Refn lighting in American History X? And the soundtrack would have been fucking the bomb.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Neon Demon version of American
Yes,
History.
yeah.
Jesus.
I may have to go masturbate now.
You're welcome.
Neon purple lit skinhead Nazi gathering with Cliff Martinez doing the soundtrack.
Black and white. Fuck
Hell
that shit.
yeah.
We're going to just pump this thing full of color.
Oh God, go full Mandy on American History X.
Ryan Gosling in the Edward Norton role.
Yeah.
Or no, put Nick Cage in the Edward Norton role.
No.
Mark the carb! Standing at the door!
So I wonder where they can go with Halloween now.
I have a thought.
Honestly, anywhere they want now.
I
ball's
do
in their
have
court.
a thought. Simply because of the doctor putting on the mask and then the final shot of the movie being the granddaughter holding the knife. I'm wondering if they're going to take it into the direction that Halloween 4 kind of hinted at.
That they wanted to go with Halloween 4?
Yeah, where you have people who... Because in the movie, the doctor, whatever purpose he does serve aside from being a plot device toward the end, he does talk about how the effects that victimizers have on victims and back and forth, and how people can choose different paths. They can either become survivors or they can choose to become perpetual victims, and then you have people who completely switch and become victimizers themselves.
Right.
And
That
so to
seems
see
like
her
that
holding
would
that, it
be-
could go there, maybe.
That seems like that would be a interesting way to go. Or it might have just been a nod to 4.
There's
Yeah,
that
it could
one
be.
shot in at the end of the new Halloween where we basically get a reverse version of the overhead shot looking down at Michael on the ground.
I love that moment.
Instead, we get Laurie, and Michael goes to look back. Where'd she go?
The
I
screening that we
love
were
that.
at, everybody applauded for that.
We
Yeah.
all of us went crazy when she looked over the edge of the balcony and Michael looked over the edge of the balcony and she's gone.
Yeah.
Everyone
Oh.
went crazy for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was a clever play to, make the hunted the hunter this time around.
And at the end too, just like in the original, when she's standing, after finding her friends dead, and then in a completely darkened doorway, all of a sudden he appears as if your eyes are adjusting to the dark.
and then
Michael
she
gets
does
shot
it.
in the face, he falls out of frame, and then in a completely dark door, all of a sudden there's Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's like, "Happy Halloween, Michael," and just starts stabbing the shit out of him. God, I love this
The,
movie.
the fucking nods in this movie, visually, thematically, set pieces, like they hit every home run they could hit. I think, like, this is the perfect sequel to the original Halloween.
And it's
And it's
the perfect
scarier.
sequel for people who found things that they liked about the other sequels, even if they weren't
Yeah.
fans.
Because it touches on all of them in some aspect or another.
It really gives them their credit.
Even the bumbling cops in 5 kind of have a little cameo thing, and I love that moment too when they're just bickering with each other about what they packed for their lunch.
Yeah.
That was wonderful.
That's one of those moments when Danny McBride had a hand writing this movie.
Yeah.
And the
It's so
director of
weird to-
Pineapple Express.
It's
course.
so weird to me that Danny McBride had anything to do with this.
He's kind of like expanding on what he does, though.
He
He's like
is.
really like when he showed up in Alien Covenant, it was like, what? Why is he in this? But
Yeah.
he was one of the better parts
And
of
he
that
was
movie.
really
too.
He was
good
like
in it.
one of the
Yeah.
actual characters that you could identify with, and everyone
Yeah.
else was.
I think he was the
kinda
only good
faceless.
part of Covenant.
yeah, yeah.
I finally watched that movie a few months ago with Andy, and I was like, "What? How
What
do you,
did
how do
I
you
just-
fuck up your own universe, dude?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?" Oh.
How do you drain all the horror out of it?
I'm
Like, it's not. It wasn't scary anymore at
Yeah.
that point.
no, it wasn't scary. It was very scientific.
Yeah, and apparently now aliens
Sterile.
only take like 15 minutes to incubate.
Yeah.
What?
They were proto
You're proto.
xenomorphs.
I liked
Proto.
the neomorphs. I did like those, but when they finally get to how the xenomorphs came to be, and then we finally see one, and we get the blow it out the airlock.
Yeah.
Final showdown. Just so tired and
Blow it out my
boring.
airlock.
Dude,
Fassbender was awesome, though. I will. Give credit
Fassbender
where
is
credit's
good
due.
in everything.
I'll do the fingering.
I'll do the
Hey,
finger.
Get away from me with that shit.
Dude, if you walk up to me and ask me to smell your finger, you're dead.
Shocker. You want to smell it?
Yeah, so they did say they're working on a sequel. The thing I'm scared of is when they said they're going to make the sequel. What's that?
2 sequels.
2 sequels. They've assigned totally different writers to these than worked on this one. And that kind of scares me.
Yeah.
What I'm hoping for is that it's something like what he's saying, that it would be very easy for them to go with a different killer. Even have the niece be the killer now, or grand niece.
Yeah. She's the granddaughter.
Granddaughter.
Should be the
It would be
grand
nice
niece.
to see them actually follow through on some
She's
of
the
the
grand niece
ideas
of
that
Michael Myers.
people agreed
What's
were
that?
promising.
She's the grand niece of
No,
Michael
she's
Myers.
not. They're not brother and sister in this one.
What if
Oh,
they made
you're
a
right.
Halloween
You're
movie
right.
starring Mike Myers?
Starring Michael Myers as Michael Myers.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Yeah, Michael Myers walking after his the Laurie's granddaughter. Get back here! I'm fire on the food chain. Get in my belly.
Welcome to my underground lair.
Strangling
Don't look
this
at me
chick.
like
Do
I'm-
I make you horny, baby? Do I make you
Who
right?
does number 2 work for?
And he spots, she spots Michael in the hallway, and he says to her, "Well, don't look at me like I'm frickin' Frankenstein."
Yeah,
Well, actually, though, they could have Michael Myers in what's the bad guy's name in Austin Powers?
Dr. Evil.
Dr. Evil.
Dr. Evil. He
I
kind
am
of looks
your
like
father.
Loomis. He kind of looks like
well,
Loomis.
he's based off the Donald Pleasance version
Yeah, he is.
of Blofeld from
Man, we've
Bond.
got some crazy ideas here.
We do.
We should write this sequel.
Throw me a freaking bone.
I don't know why
here.
they did. I mean, as much as I love it, Freddy vs. Jason, you've got, the very talky, jokey villain against the silent killer. What if you had silent killer Michael Myers against Jason Voorhees? They would just be staring at each other and
That would
deciding.
be the most
Just
boring.
head tilting back and forth.
That movie would be boring.
Yeah.
That's why you need, scenery chewing teenagers, I guess, to tie everything all together
Hell yeah.
like they had in Freddy
And
versus-
carpet
Although
chewing.
I do love the stoner dude who's obviously a nod to Jason Mewes in Freddy versus Jason. Like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
that goalie was pissed about something.
And the,
I mean, I would think that Jason and Michael Myers would kind of like be on the same side.
They'd probably fight
They
Freddy.
probably wouldn't want to fight each other. They'd
Yeah.
be like,
They
let's hang
should
out.
they should do Pinhead and Freddy versus Michael Myers and Jason.
all
There
out
we go.
bloodbath.
and then
Wasn't that how originally
Ash
it was
comes
going
to
to
sort
end?
them all out.
Yeah,
Wasn't Freddy versus Jason supposed to end with both of them going to hell and then
And
Pinhead
Pinhead?
showing up and
Yeah.
saying, "Gentlemen, what seems to be the problem?"
I
Yes.
think so.
yeah.
I don't
That was
know.
the original intention.
Well, he does pull Jason into hell in the Jason Goes to Hell unrated cut, doesn't he?
Yeah, that was the whole hinting, and then it still took them how long? 14? Like 11, 13 years to get it all together? Whatever.
And now they're finally going back to Friday the 13th. We're gonna finally get our Friday the 13th part 13.
As long as LeBron James gets his way, we will be having a Friday
That
the 13th.
blew my mind. I was like, LeBron James option this?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
But
have any of you
okay,
guys-
the thing is with LeBron James, he is like literally the biggest Friday the 13th fan on the face of the planet. Like he has like a massive collection. He's like knows these movies in and out. And his company optioned Space Jam 2. So they're developing that
And Friday the 13th.
And now the next thing that they want to move on to is rebooting Friday the 13th.
Okay,
again.
LeBron James, if you're listening, bring back Kane Hodder.
Oh yeah.
Because he wasn't in Freddy vs. Jason,
he's
was
a
he?
little
No.
old.
No, and he was very mad
But he's
about
still
that.
doing Victor Crowley movies. He
True.
could easily do this still.
True.
There's a documentary. We're like way off of Halloween now, but whatever. There's a documentary on Kane Hodder that I watched a few months ago. you guys have got to see the movie. Like, that dude is amazing.
He is really cool.
Like, the shit that he went through, like being a burn victim and then becoming like this legendary stunt person and doing the Friday the 13th movies. Very, very upset to this very day about Freddy versus Jason, that they did not give him that role.
I don't blame him.
He was one of the people who campaigned shamelessly to get that movie made.
And then they didn't give it to him.
Just cast him aside.
Well, it's pretty interesting. Like, he talks a lot about in the documentary how he's the one that kind of humanized Jason. He was the first one that made Jason kind of breathe. And, you know, the big chest movements and shit.
When you
That
think
was
Well,
him.
when you have a big chest, it's easy to do big chest movements.
Yeah.
when you think of the mannerisms of Jason, though, that's what you think of.
Oh, yeah.
You think of the
Kane
breathing,
Hodder.
the hulking mass, the guy who turns his head before he walks a direction.
Yeah.
You know, everything that we have come to know and identify about Jason, aside from just a hockey mask, is
And the
Kane Hodder.
machete.
Not even,
so
I don't
didn't-
know why why all of us have the machete in our minds for Jason either.
He kills with pretty much anything.
'Cause
Yeah.
he only uses machete like 5 times.
Oh, and the first iconic kill that he made in the hockey mask was a spear gun, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I think it's because a lot of the promotional images of Jason have him holding a machete in his right
because
hand.
machetes look scary.
Yeah.
But
All
as long
right.
as we're talking about the men behind the mask, we need to give a big shout out to the new Michael Myers. Nick Castle, the guy who did play the Shape in the original film, was in it, but apparently, and I had this incorrect when I wrote my review, he was only in it for one shot.
Okay.
And then he passed the torch to an actor named Jude Michael Courtney, who did phenomenal.
Yeah.
He walks and acts like Michael Myers.
Yeah, the original guy was just in the prison scene.
Yes.
When you kind of see his face,
And
but
the,
you don't really see his face.
The first time Laurie sees him reflected in the mirror and then she shoots through the second floor window, that's also Nick Castle.
Okay.
That's
Wow.
awesome. And as one final side note, are any of you guys watching the Eli Roth History of Horror?
I didn't even know this was the
I
thing.
missed it. I hadn't had
It's
time.
still going. It's on AMC.
I don't have cable, so that would
It's
explain that.
Yeah.
really, really solid. Like, they're doing some deep dives and a lot of interesting creatives on there. I mean, yeah, some of the shit I completely disagree with. Like, they're saying that Paranormal Activity is the new epoch of modern possession movies.
Hell no.
And I was like,
We're all like, fuck that.
and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
There's
Like,
a
Yeah.
case to be made for them being, for the first two being really great examples of found footage horror, but
if I
for
didn't,
possession movies?
my problem is that I fucking hate found footage anything. I don't care what your subject matter is. Found footage movies piss me the fuck off.
See, me and Andrew love them.
Yeah,
I
Blake,
I like
Blair
them too.
Witch.
Blake loves them too.
Blair Witch. I fucking fell asleep 3 times going to the theater to see that movie.
You didn't do
because-
enough blow first. What the fuck?
Dude, I did more blow than
back to cocaine.
most of San Francisco in the early 2000s.
That's a tall order, my friend.
Yes, it is. And no, that fucking movie bored the living shit out of me. There was nothing scary about it.
I love
was
it.
Nothing
too.
scary
I love
about
it too.
Paranormal Activity. Nothing scary about any of them. I'm like, really?
And
That's you, my friend.
But that's what makes that's what makes film great, and specifically the horror genre. Like I think horror and comedy, more than any other two genres, the
Are
most subjective.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
most.
Absolutely. Certain things scare certain people. Found footage, I just don't buy it. Like,
There's a lot of
There's
found
Cannibal
footage
Holocaust
movies.
fit in for you.
Yeah, Cannibal Holocaust is
Oh.
it's kind of a hybrid though.
Cannibal Holocaust I thought was boring as shit too.
Yeah, see, I love that movie. Love it.
But I think one of the reasons why found footage has such a bad rap is because most found footage movies break the cardinal rule, and that is there always has to be a reason for that camera to be running,
Right.
for someone to actually pick that up and point it at something. Very, very few I've noticed have a reason.
Chronicle was the one that I thought did it best.
Chronicle's pretty damn great.
Yeah. it's
Because
up
the
there.
way there's a reason for the camera to be
I
there.
know, but the minute that I see found
Yeah.
footage in the description of a movie, I'm like, fuck that. I'm not watching.
Did you see Hardcore Henry?
Yeah, that was a giant pile of shit.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I've got the Blu-ray. I watched it one time. That movie is hard to get through. for me.
I enjoyed it.
It
I
just
still haven't seen it.
going.
My
But yeah.
problem is first-person shooters give me vertigo. So
I
I
freaking
can't
love
argue with you
first-person
there.
shooters.
Me too.
I could play them to death.
I fucking hate them with a bright white fiery passion.
Oh man, Doom is fucking great.
Doom is a giant.
That's
Okay,
you. That
all
is-
right.
that is just you. That's
Yeah.
you.
Okay, I will say this though. Great example of a found footage movie. It's a short in the middle of VHS 2. Gareth Hugh Evans' Safe Haven.
Oh man,
That movie is like a fucking atom bomb in the middle of that flick, and
Yeah.
everything that comes after it feels like absolute shit by
Yeah,
comparison.
actually, that's probably the best found footage short that I've ever seen.
I would agree with
Out
you.
of every single one that I've seen, from the director of the Raid movies and L is for Libido.
You haven't watched the Raid movies yet, have you? You got to get on that.
Yeah, get.
I
on
think
that
they're
shit.
on Netflix.
Yeah.
All right,
not.
we're gonna wrap this up. This was episode 101. I think we'll
101.
be back next week. I have no idea what we're doing, but after 5 weeks, I am totally ready to be done
with fucking horror.
Oh my god!
At least a week off.
31 Days of Hell.
Yeah, you might
There
just
you
have
go.
to watch me next week. I might just talk to the camera like about Star Wars or something. I don't know, but next week, no more horror.
I'm just gonna point the camera at you and watch you watch Pornhub.
Dude, that might be it. I mean,
There you
that's
go.
it.
Make a
All
video
right.
with Mocha.
What's that?
Make a video with Mocha.
Oh, yeah. It's the Real Crime live stream with Mocha.
Where are we covering
she
the
would love
Muppet
it.
movies this
Yeah.
week?
Next week will be Chris with Jordan Belfort doing Blow.
We'll see you guys next week.
Visit us at www.themoviesleuth.com and find The Movie Sleuth on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and iTunes.